This is Cosimo Orban at Singularity Summit Seville, and I'm here with Ramez Naam. Apart from being an energy expert, you are a writer on transhumanism, and you wrote some books on transhumanism and how they affect political issues and also some very personal aspects of life of everyday people in the near future. So 3D printing is nowadays really changing the industry in so many ways, and we can foresee that in the future it is going to change everything all again. And also it may take on a more personal note because of how we relate to this technology and how we can change ourselves through this new creation medium. Is there some interesting way that 3D printing can affect the new phase of human evolution, which is transhumanism?
That's a big question. I'm not really sure. I do like that 3D printing democratizes control of technology. And I'm not sure that 3D printing is going to give people the same ability to manufacture goods that a factory does. I think that 3D printed goods will often be not quite as convenient or as high quality as a mass manufactured good in some ways, but you'll be able to customize it and you'll be able to do it yourself. And that's a democratization of the means of production and of control. And I'm the sort of transhumanist, I actually almost never use that word, who believes that the cell phone in my pocket is a transhumanist thing, right? That we have all been augmented by technology, and there's almost no line between those who are human and those who are superhuman. We're all superhuman, right? And so this ability to manufacture new gadgets, new toys, to experiment with new toys and new gadgets, whether it's something we're going to wear or something we're going to use as a new electronic, that's making us all more superhuman, and it's letting each of us, more tinkerers, more people, sort of control their own destiny. So I think that's pretty profound.
Well, 3D printing also comes in the way of creating new forms of life in some way. So 3D printing of biological tissues can really get into, can really make you have in your hands your own creation, which may in some way, or if you design it that way, impact your own life if you implement it in some way. So we can predict that in some future you may be able to customize yourself through this 3D printing of biotechnologies. Is it possible in your opinion?
It's possible. I probably wouldn't call that 3D printing. I mean, people do sometimes use 3D printing to talk about 3D printing tissues and so on. When I talk about sort of biohacking and DIY bio, I think it is pretty interesting. And I think the implications are not fully worked out there. But it does seem like DIY bio or biohacking does leave open the possibility that people in a garage lab or at home will be able to do pretty interesting biological stuff, mostly probably not to themselves, but maybe to themselves. It's theoretically possible that you will be able to make a gene editing virus to yourself in a garage lab and tweak your own genome in a part of your body, inject a vector into your arm and change your genes there. I think that is really profound. I think it also has high risk. Typically, those things go through many, many years of FDA testing before they're approved because they have some failure rate. So we'll see. Maybe at some point the toolkit itself will be so precise and so fundamentally safe that it'll be, we won't be so worried about it. But it's going to be a very strange and interesting world.
Well, the future sure sounds interesting for the transhumanist point of view.
Yeah.
But coming back to your energy expertise, you said that 3D printing still cannot create, and probably will not still in the future, create objects and parts that are completely up to scale to the performance of traditional manufacturing. And but we can see nowadays that many 3D printers or application of 3D printing are really reliable and efficient in creating extremely particular models or objects that can be used as counterparts to a lesser part traditionally manufactured. Yeah. Can we see a potential application of 3D printing now or in the future for the energy department?
So sometimes 3D printing can make a really production level part and an even better part. But it's not with a plastic 3D printer usually. Or if it's a plastic 3D printer, it's to make a plastic part. You can make a sample jar or a plastic funnel, that sort of thing. But if you want to make a high performance part, you probably need a metal 3D printer, a laser sintering device, and you're talking about a device that currently costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now it may be that those will drop in price dramatically. We've heard that as the patents expire, they might drop in price quite a lot. Lasers are still very expensive, they take a lot of energy, so I think they will stay fairly expensive. In energy, how will it affect? You know, I think it's interesting because I think it has a number of sort of secondary effects. One of the things we see is that with those laser sintering devices, you can make new shapes of parts that are often more weight efficient because you can make sort of trusses or lattices that don't need all the weight. They just have the parts that bear the loads. And so that allows you to make potentially vehicles that are lighter. Aircraft is really where that is right now. Aircraft that are lighter. Aircraft engines that have different shapes of their nozzles and blades and maybe more fuel efficient. So I think indirectly that may have a substantial effect on energy consumption in those vehicles that we can potentially make down the road as a result.
All right. Thank you so much, Ramez, for this interview. And we'll see what the future brings us to humanity and 3D printing.
My pleasure. Thank you, Cosimo.
And this is Cosimo for 3D Printing Tech and Singularity Summit.